ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
And we are back like we never left. It is Live Zone. It is Denzel bringing you something new here this week. We got the DOTH brothers here today. But we're not going to go into some basketball stuff. We're going to go into some football stuff. But before we do all that, Denzel, how you doing today?
Yo, man, we're doing well. Happy to bring something a little different to the table for the people watching. So, let's get into it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So today we're going to be talking about what we think is going to happen in today's NFL draft. We're only going to be talking about the first 5 picks because that's where all the hype is around right now. So we're just going to keep it nice, sweet, simple, and we're going to go from there. So, Denzel, I'm going to have you start us off here. Who do you have going in the number 1 spot?
I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's I have Cam Ward, the quarterback out of Miami. Obviously we know what his accolades are for the University of Miami last year. 4,300 passing yards, 67% completion percentage, 39 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. The Titans are clearly looking for an upgrade at the quarterback position here. Will Levis currently right now is their starting QB, and last year they finished 31st. For those who don't know, there's 32 teams in the NFL. 31st out of 32 teams in QBR at 37.3, and they threw the second most interceptions last year with 21 INT. So it's clear and obvious that Cam Ward is going to be the number. It's automatically assumed that he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. But could they go in a different route? They absolutely could go in a different route. They also are looking for edge rushers. They're looking for an offensive tackles as well as a safety. So that's some of their needs. I mean, edge-wise, you have Ed Abdul-Carter, but there's not much speculation and assumption that they're going to pick him at the number 1 spot, even though Ed Abdul-Carter is like probably the most physically gifted, arguably the most physically gifted guy in the draft right now. But for me, it's Cam Ward at the number 1 spot.
All right, yeah, I definitely agree with you here. No disagreements at all. I think that Cam Ward is going to go number 1 to the Tennessee Titans. Do I think it's the right move? I don't think so. I don't think that Cam Ward is going to be the best quarterback in this draft class. I do think that he will be better than Shador, I think, but I don't think that he will be the best in the draft class. But I can see why they're going with Cam Ward here. I think it's a consensus vote when we talk about mock drafts. I think everybody has Cam Ward going number 1, so I understand why you picked him. But I do have Cam Ward going to the Tennessee Titans at the number 1 pick, so I definitely agree with you. I'm going to head over to my number 2 pick, though, because this is where it gets a little bit crazy. I don't know if you guys have been seeing in the news lately, but the Cleveland Browns are opening to trading their pick and moving down in the draft. I see that happening 110% of the way. I see either the Dallas Cowboys or I see the New Orleans Saints trying to trade up in the draft to get number 2. I think this is where Shador Sanders goes. I really do. We just saw Joe Milton get traded from the New England Patriots to the Dallas Cowboys, so it doesn't really fit the need of having a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys at the moment. But if we know something, we know that Shador Sanders wants to end up in Dallas. So I could see that happening. But I really do think that the New Orleans Saints are going to get in on the pick. I don't know what the trade is going to end up looking like. Probably a few draft picks in the future or something like that. I think they're going to keep that core that they have, the receiver core. You might even maybe see Alvin Kamara end up going to or not Dallas Cowboys, the Cleveland Browns with the likes of Nick Chubb, uh, not knowing what his surrounding future is, especially in Cleveland. But I do think that the New Orleans Saints will end up with the number 2 pick, and I'm picking Shador Sanders here.
Wow. Yeah, obviously there's I mean, there's a lot of angles that this can get attacked from a Cleveland Browns perspective, because they're going to have a lot of suitors looking to trade up
Mm.
and get that number 2 pick. Because currently, right now, by projection, obviously, Ed Abdul Carter is the number 2 pick in the draft, but that's based off of Cleveland and their needs. They need a QB. Yes, Deshaun Watson is going to be out for until further notice, pretty much. They did pick up Kenny Pickett, but there's a clear need for them to get a QB. Like there's a clear need for them, as well as an edge, offensive tackle, wide receiver, running back. The running back's another issue that they have going on right now, with the uncertainty of Nick Chubb's future. Obviously, coming off that horrific blown out knee injury a couple of years ago. But man, suitors for the number 2 pick. I mean, I can't even continue. I can't even pick out a specific team. Like, to be personally honest, I mean, there are teams, there are trade rumors. Like, for example, the Atlanta Falcons. Excuse me, man. I'm in a basketball mode, man. For some dumb reason, man. Oh man, I'm so used to talk. Moving.
Hey,
I
it's
have
all
the
good. It's all good.
Yeah, the Atlanta Falcons, who have the 15th pick, obviously they're looking to move on from Kirk Cousins. Like, could a number 2 pick be traded? Could they trade that pick to the Atlanta Falcons to go after someone like a Kirk Cousins? I mean, that's one idea. There's also been speculation of the Los Angeles Rams and Matt Stafford, but I highly doubt that that's going to happen.
With that
Um,
new receiver core, I don't
right,
think that they're going to
exactly. With the
remove
new
Stafford.
receiver core, I don't think that's going to happen now. I think Stafford's going to stay there with the Rams. But I mean, the only real like team that I could personally look at and be like, okay, there's a chance that they could go and trade up for him. I mean, it has to be the Falcons for me. There is other teams like the Las Vegas Raiders, but the Las Vegas Raiders are not going to do much of anything now to trade up to that number 2 pick. They could. I mean, if they're looking for an edge rusher, or if they're looking for someone like a Travis Hunter, someone that's going to beef up that wide receiver core. But uh, honestly, I mean, to me, I'm gonna have to stick with the speculation I've seen the most, and that's the Falcons, especially. And I can see the motive there with them trying to move on from Kirk Cousins, because it has been honestly an absolute nightmare with the Falcons and
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins.
I can see where you're coming from with the Falcons, but with the Falcons, they're kind of already set up and they want to keep Kirk there. They already said that. So I don't see that happening. With the Los Angeles Rams sitting at 26, I mean, I think that they'll have a chance to go after Quinn Ewers out of Texas, and I think that that's the way to go for
Ooh.
them if they're looking for a younger quarterback, so he can have a few years to learn off of Matthew Stafford. But when it comes down to it, I mean, Miami could be another one with the Tua situation and everything like
Yeah.
that. They could trade up, and maybe get Tua and that draft pick that they're sitting at, I think number 13 right now, for in exchange for the second pick and maybe a future third rounder or something like that. Could happen. I mean, but what I'm looking at is the Saints have been on point with all the mock drafts to get Shador Sanders on every single mock draft that I have seen. since the beginning of us talking about the draft, it has been Shador Sanders going number 9 to the New Orleans Saints. I think that there's a possibility that the Saints could end up trading up to number 2 and grabbing him so they secure him instead of just waiting at that 9th pick.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk you off that one. I mean, the only rebuttal to that is there are some mock drafts out there that I know the Giants have 2 quarterbacks now with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston.
Yep.
Now, it's going to remain to be seen if they're going to hold on to these guys because Russell Wilson 2-year contract. How after 2 years, are they using Russell Wilson as a bridge for the future? Are they going to draft a QB this year, or are they going to draft a QB next year? That's going to be that's what's up in the air right now. But if they were to pick a QB this year, some people have Shedeur Sanders projected at that number 3 overall pick. But I agree with you with the recent signings of Winston and Russell Wilson. I can understand why you're saying the New Orleans Saints are gonna. You could drop down to 8, 9, 10 with the New Orleans Saints there. I haven't seen or heard of anything that has the New Orleans Saints trying to trade up. But honestly, I mean, I do like that thought there of Shedeur dropping down to the 10 to the 9th pick there with the New Orleans Saints, because the Giants, I think for the short term, they are grandfathered in at the QB spot. Obviously, Patriots are going to go after anyone with the number 4 pick in the QB spot. They have their guy in Drake May.
Correct.
We'll get to them shortly, but yeah, for me, if the Giants, it's very difficult to
yes it is
to assume one thing, because no sooner we say something, it goes the other way. But for me, the Giants, I mean, if the Giants were to pick at the number 3 spot, I have them picking Shedeur Sanders. We know what this guy's capable of. The only, like I said, the QB situation, if they're trying to use him as, yep, you're the future, we're bridging Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, you're going to learn under them for the first year, maybe the first 2 years, build up, because there's some things that Shedeur Sanders needs to work on. Number one is he's got to get the ball out of his hands way more quicker than what he did in college. He was getting the ball out of his hands at 2.96 seconds. First of all, we all know the NFL. The NFL, it has to be 2.5 or less, maybe even less than 2.5. We're talking 2.4 seconds or less. And his 2.96 seconds to throw was ranked 110 in the FBS. 1. 2, he was sacked 42 times this past season. This is the second year in a row he has led the FBS as being the most sacked quarterback in the nation. So these are 2 things that Shedeur Sanders has to work on. And maybe that might be the ultimate reason why the Giants have 2 experienced quarterbacks there, and he learns underneath them. But if there was someone other than the Giants, if there was someone else that the Giants would look towards, I would say that they might be looking towards like a defensive tackle. But they have other needs. The offensive line needs major help, as well as their secondary. Their secondary has their struggles too. But I know a lot of these mock drafts are based off of God-given talent and physical ability, which is they have every right to these mock drafts that are like that. But in terms of the situation they're being put in, it's not a realistic situation, especially if the Giants were to pick Shedeur Sanders at 3 with 2 established veteran quarterbacks of the game. And people will say what they want about Russell Wilson. I'm not saying he's someone to write home about, but he did lead the
He is
Pittsburgh
a super.
Steelers.
He is a Super Bowl champion. Don't
Right,
don't don't get it
exactly.
twisted.
He did lead the Pittsburgh Steelers last year to the playoffs last year. So I can't knock off Russell Wilson. Yes, was it a little catastrophic at the end of the year? Yeah, it was. But you start 4-0, you end the season 0 for 5. Unfortunately, they had the brilliant luxury of playing the Ravens 3 times. So
Yeah.
like that's not, like that division, the AFC North, is so difficult.
Yes.
Um, but anyways, besides that, that's who I have at number 3 is Shadur Sanders. They could go a different route, but um, that's who I have right now.
Yeah, no, I can see why you end up picking Shador Sanders at 3. I had him at 2 with the Giants. I really do think that they're going to get Travis Hunter. I think this is where Travis Hunter lands. I think that him being matched up with Malik Neighbors is going to benefit the New York Giants. I think that they're going to use him as a wide receiver, because if you use him as a wide receiver, it opens up Malik Neighbors 10 times more, which is going to end up being New York's first option on their offense the way it should be. Um, and then you can also use Travis Hunter as a cornerback as well. I mean, he's a dual threat, as we saw in college. But
Yes.
I do have Travis Hunter at my number 3 for the New York Giants.
Yeah, I actually love the angle of Travis Hunter at number 3, going to the Giants. The Giants, um, yeah, they have that need in the secondary for a cornerback and a safety in that secondary there that has been atrocious. And there's a lot of pressure on the New York Giants in that organization right now. The
Yep.
GM, the head coach, Brian Daboll, like there's a lot of pressure right now. They had a terrible year last year, and now we got to pick up the pieces. We're sticking with Daboll. And I like Daboll as a coach. I love him as a coach, but now there's pressure to turn the page to this year and try to build on something, especially with a talented wide receiver like Malik Neighbors. And now you
Exactly.
have 2 veteran quarterbacks at the helm there. I love that Travis Hunter being that number 2 option for the Giants there. Yes, they also will have Darius Slayton and those guys as well. But Travis Hunter, this guy's nothing to sneeze at on the offensive end. This guy had 15 touchdowns last year for Colorado, 96 catches, 1,200 yards receiving.
Yep.
Defensively, we know he's just as good defensively. His
I think he's
instincts,
better defensively.
and I can't disagree with you on that because um 10 pass breakups last year, 4 INTs. He's had 7 interceptions the last 2 years at Colorado. There's been a big argument there that he's better defensively, and the numbers prove it. The numbers
Mhm.
prove that he is just as good, if not better, defensively as he is offensively. We could see him be a part-time cornerback for the Giants if they pick him at 3. And if they pick him at 3, that is going to put the Patriots, now they're going to have to go to a plan B, because I think Travis Hunter is a guy I think that they're targeting just to be a number 2 guy alongside. Yes, they pick up Diggs, but you need someone else on the wide receiver side for the Patriots. So it's like there's that need as well. Um, but yeah, I can't knock you off of Hunter at the number 3 pick for sure.
Yeah, well, this is where I have my number 4 pick with the New England Patriots. I have Abdul Carter. I think the best player in this year's draft is going to end up being a New England Patriot, and they are going to solidify their defense as one of the scariest defenses to go up and match up against this season. I think that this is the guy that you look at as a Chandler Jones, as a Gerard Mayo, as a Dante Hightower, a corner piece to your foundation on the defense. I'm picking Abdul Carter as that guy for the New England Patriots for the next 10, 15 years.
Listen, I would love to see Abdul Carter rocking the Patriots uniform.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I might be the first one in line to buy the jersey. Like, are you kidding me? What this kid brings to the table on the defensive side of the ball. They say he has a Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald,
110%.
pass rush jump.
110%.
And like, just to put in the metrics of what Abdul Carter has done for Penn State, 23 and a half tackles for loss last year. Number one in the nation. No one else has more tackles for loss than him. 12 sacks, 61 pressures. He had an 18 and a half pressure rate, 18.5% pressure rate last year, which was also number 3 in the nation. So it gives you an idea of what this kid brings to the table, his physical ability. The only thing, and I'm not saying like physically gifted, complete athlete, no doubt in my mind about this. There is some concern with Abdul Carter because there is a stress reaction in his right foot currently as we speak.
Yeah.
There is no tendency for him to get surgery on that right foot. And is this something that could hinder him down the road? Yes. No. It's a yes and a no. But we don't know until he gets on the field. And when he's on the field, he's going to be a disruptor, especially in the pass game for sure. If he finds a way to creep down to number 4, I would absolutely love to see the Patriots pick up Abdul Carter. They have a massive need for an edge rusher. Yes, we could talk about the offensive line and all this stuff. We could talk about the offense for the Patriots. I have Travis.
I do think that in the second or third round they will be going after offensive linemen. I will say this: if they're going to go with an offensive draft, I see them picking Genty at the number 4 spot. But if they're going based off of what fits the team best and how to get back to that New England Patriots culture, Abdul Carter is the clear pick for the New England Patriots.
Yeah. Oh yeah. With the need for an edge rusher, and we know what the Patriots were 4-13 last year, and they still had one of the better defenses in the league. That defense kept them in games that they should never been close to being in last year.
Exactly.
And obviously, if the offensive line if the offense didn't have its struggles last year, I'm not saying they're a 500 team, but they would be one of the first teams being out of the playoff picture. They would have been an 8 or a 9 seed last year and would have been 1 or 2 games away from making the playoffs. Now, could you make the case for them now with the acquisition of Stephon Diggs? No, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done in this draft in order for them to make that next step forward. I could see them being a 6-11, a 7-10 team this upcoming season, but that's before the draft has even happened. So we have to see what happens in the draft in order for us to have a better indicator of if they're going to be a team contending for the playoffs or not.
Yeah. I can agree with what you're saying on that. I do think that regardless, I do think that the New England Patriots will be trading down for another first round pick in the draft this year. We saw Tateria McMillan be mentioned around the New England Patriots. I don't think that they're going to sleep on it. I think that they're going to go after him in the late first round. And I think that the New England Patriots ended up trading Joe Milton for a 5th round pick so they could have more eligibility to trade up in the draft and go get a guy like McMillan in the late first round.
Yeah, McMillan, you're the one who put me on to McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona. Correct. There. I mean, this guy has 2,700 receiving yards over the past 2 seasons at Arizona. This guy is 6'4", so he's going to be your red zone target in the end zone. you know, his 40-yard dash wasn't the most impressive. He was in the 4.5 range, but still, to me, the height and the body size is what any NFL team's looking for red zone targets. Someone like a Mike Evans body build for those red zone targets, and the
With Jamar
Patriots,
Chase hands. With
yeah,
Jamar Chase hands.
someone. Someone like the Patriots trading down to go after a guy like that. Like right now, from most of the mock drafts I seen McMillan between 12 and 18.
Now,
But
this scares me because I could see the New England Patriots trading that pick to the Dallas Cowboys. I could see them trading 4 for 12, the Cowboys going after Ashton Genty, and then the
yeah,
New
yeah,
England Patriots going after a guy like McMillan at 12. I just don't think I see it. Realistically, I don't think Vrabel's going to trade a top 4 pick. I just don't think that he'll go the same route that Bill Belichick has gone throughout the years. I think that they're going to end up taking their guy, and I think that their guy that they're looking at is Abdul Carter. But like I said, if they want to go the offensive route, the best option is Ashton Genty. We look at Ashton Genty and we see Derrick Henry written all over him, all over him. And where did Derrick Henry get his praise from? Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans. So if he can do it
hmm
with Derrick Henry, he can do it with Ashton Genty. I just don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do. The Patriots have been very quiet. I just know that I don't think they're going to trade the pick. I think they're going to pick somebody at the number 4 spot. It's just a matter of, hey, you got a few options here. Who you going to pick now? You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I think that's the big problem with New England right now.
yeah. And this is where I had kind of a light bulb moment a little bit, because like we just talked about Cleveland and their needs of a running back. Do we think that they're gonna pick Genty at number 2? No, I think that's too high of a pick. There's other players in this draft. There's other players that they need, like offensive line, wide receiver, uh, QB. To be personal, like they have bigger needs
Yeah.
than running back. Even though running back is up there with Nick Chubb being 33 years old, but imagine them
Cleveland
trading.
needs everything though, so whatever they get the most out of that, they're gonna take it. They're gonna be trading that pick regardless.
I mean, offensively, yes. Defensively, the only
Both,
reason why they have
both.
a,
Who do they have other than Miles Garrett there?
I mean, Denzel Ward. I mean, I mean, there. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Cleveland has a good defense. Like, yes, Miles Garrett is the face of that defense. Honestly, if I'm any quarterback, I don't want to be going against Miles Garrett anytime soon. But like,
Okay, so let
yes,
me put it this way. Let me put it this way. If the Cleveland Browns ended up getting rid of Miles Garrett, are they winning a single game next season?
oh, with the quarterback issues, no, absolutely not.
With the quarterback issues, with the running back issues, with the wide receiver issues, the offensive line issues, the defense issues, if Miles Garrett's not there. I mean,
Yeah,
the Cleveland Browns are just in shambles. They really are.
I know they've put themselves in a very a very bad predicament here, and obviously,
And it all
um,
started with getting rid of Baker Mayfield. They should have kept Baker.
I know we're seeing what Baker Mayfield's doing now in Tampa. I mean, he's
Exactly.
absolutely balling. But I mean, honestly, I I struggle with Cleveland a lot because um, I believe that they have a defense that you can build upon as long as Miles Garrett is there. Like my first thought process was with the number 2 pick is if they pick Abdul Carter, man, like I don't know what to think in that scenario. Like you have Garrett on one side of the line and Carter on the other side. You got two guys that can get to the quarterback at any time they want. Like, so that was my first thought, because Cleveland, as we have seen the last few years defensively, they have had one of the best defenses in the league. Unfortunately, it's an unfortunate situation with Myles Garrett. It looks like he's gonna be out. Like, there's been rumors that they might use him for trade leverage, as a trade to get draft picks somewhere else in the draft. But there's been talks of that. I think those things are less likely. But I mean, Ashton Genty, going back to Ashton Genty, I mean, this guy had
Mm-hmm.
397 touches last year.
Yep.
Like, obviously, yes, in the NFL, I
It's
mean,
not going to be as much, but
right.
his yards per carry will get significantly better at the
Yeah,
same time,
yeah,
because
yeah.
NFL teams are going to use him in the right way at the best of Genty's ability. And Genty's ability is the same ability that Derrick Henry has. He's a
Yeah,
power running back that can stiff arm and carry 10 people down the field. And NFL teams know how to use that better than a team like Boise State. So I think that Ashton Genty has the potential to really shake up this running back room and be like, oh man, there's a new king in town. And I
yeah,
think that Ashton Genty is going to be a scary, scary player no matter what team he ends up on.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah. The Cleveland for me makes. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland traded down to look at Ashton Genty because I wouldn't be surprised by that. But there's a lot of teams gunning for a lot of offensive players. Like, obviously, this year, offensive players, it hasn't been like the biggest draft class of offensive players as we've seen in the past, but you have notable players out there, like we just talked about: McMillan, Genty, uh, yes, Shadur Sanders, Cam Ward. Like, we've talked about these guys. It's There's a lot of uncertainty, is probably the best way to put it for me. There's a lot of uncertainty of whatever Cleveland does. That, I think that's going to be the first domino that's going to help us.
110%.
That's going to
110%.
help us figure out, okay, who are they trading it to? Who's going to that number 2 pick? If that trade actually does happen, because once that domino falls, then we're going to be able to go, okay, Cam Ward 1. Okay, it's probably going to be Shadur Sanders 2, Travis Hunter 3, Genty 4, and then who
Or
knows what.
Abdul.
Oh yeah, Abdul Carter. Either way, um, yeah, I like the thought of Patriots going after Abdul Carter with the edge,
Yeah, yeah, definitely agree.
because we look at Mike Rabel teams in the past, defense.
Defense and defense and Derrick Henry.
Yeah, yeah, ground and
That's
pound, man. I'm t- Ground and pound, man. I'm telling you, there's some there's some method to the mad. There's
yeah.
some method to the mad. There's been some success to it as well. So yeah, I can't talk you off of the Patriots possibly looking at Abdul Carter there at number 4.
Yeah, definitely. And then number 5, we so-called say have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm gonna get your take on this. Does Jacksonville keep their pick and pick what they're right now? What they're projected to be picking is the defensive tackle out of Michigan, Mason Graham. Or are they gonna go trade down, try to get some wide receiver talent because they just got rid of Kirk Christian
Oh,
Kirk.
Christian Kirk. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So they just got rid of Christian Kirk. Do they end up going down to that 12th pick where they could swap with the Dallas Cowboys? We see Genty go to the Cowboys. We see McMillan go to the Jacksonville Jaguars at 12.
Um, there is potential for that, but I haven't seen anything that says Jacksonville's going to trade down from that 5th pick. Um, Jacksonville has one big, massive issue, and that is their defense. Their defense is atrocious. They gave up the 2nd most yards per game last year and the 5th most points per game to their opponents last year. That defensive front four needs major, major reconstruction. And speaking of Mason Graham, that's who I have at that number 5th pick is Mason Graham, the D tackle out of Michigan. I'm not going to make a comparison to Vince Wilfork, but Mason Graham is a run stopper. And he had 26 pressures last year, but he had 14 run stops last year for the Wolverines. And he will be a key and integral part of reshaping that front four, that front seven of the Jacksonville defense. Like I said, the Jacksonville defense, you name it defensively, they were just that bad defensively. I mean, I can't think of any sports handicapper last year that didn't play opposing wide receiver and rushing props against Jacksonville last year like I did, because they were easily targeted. And yes, they have a lot to work on the defensive end. That's why I have Mason Graham there. There is other needs for Jacksonville. They do need some help in the secondary as well. That secondary is not good either. But to me, I think if you add someone like a Mason Graham, that will help at least neutralize some of the bleeding, that will help band-aid some of the bleeding in terms of the yards you give up. And the points you give up, if you neutralize some of that and bandage up some of that, then you could start looking at a safety or a cornerback later in the draft.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. I see Graham going to Jacksonville as well. They then have at number 6. We'll just talk about this real quickly before we end up going, because that was the top 5 draft picks. But Las Vegas is at the number 6 pick. They're projected to get Ashton Genty. I didn't see that until today. Could we see a Tom Brady led Las Vegas Raiders go after Geno Smith, give him the extension?
Right.
You got Brock Bowers, you got Jacoby Myers, and now adding a guy like Ashton Genty. Could that be the missing piece for this offense to get into the playoffs?
I think it could be. That's if the top 5 picks are willing to play along and let them take Ashton Genty, which I don't think is going to happen if someone else trades down and someone else comes in, like you mentioned, a Dallas Cowboys that definitely need someone in the running back spot, and they could use a workhorse like an Ashton Genty. But Vegas, obviously they have much need for room for improvement offensively as well. Some of their needs, quarterback. They have their quarterback now with Geno Smith, 2 years. I'm still scratching my head over $75 million on a contract extension. A 34, 35-year-old getting 2 years, 30 plus million a year. But that's the way the league's gone. That's the way the league's gone. There is, I think he is this could be a similar situation at quarterback like the Giants, having veterans come in and be a filler for a couple of years while they're trying to look for that next quarterback that will be their franchise quarterback for the next decade at least. So there could potentially be a need there for a quarterback. Running back, there's definitely a need since they got rid of Josh Jacobs. Uh, you know, you know who leads their running back room right now? It's Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert leads the running back room for for the uh, for the Raiders here.
Hey, but that's not bad.
No, and I'm not saying. I
That's not the
mean,
worst.
no, it's good. Unfortunately, the issue I have with Mostert is he's been injury prone the last couple of years in Miami. That's what makes me laugh at Raheem Mostert being the leading running back. Can he give you 3, 4, 5 yards of carry? Absolutely. Mostert has
110%.
proven it before. We've seen it before. Um,
Yeah,
and
that
we have
year in
to.
Miami, that was ridiculous, averaging
Oh,
a
dude.
touchdown a game.
Right, exactly. And we also have to remember too, they're under a new regime at head coach with Pete Carroll being the head coach there too.
Yep.
And um, just throwing it out there, just happens to be the running back when Pete Carroll was the coach at Seattle. Someone by the name of Marshawn Lynch, another
Yeah, but
workhorse.
he also messed up a Super Bowl victory with that running back. Let's not forget that.
I'm not disagreeing with that. Listen, we are both wearing Patriot stuff, man. I'm wearing Patriot stuff here, man. Like, come on,
Hey,
man. Like,
yeah, I'm wearing Texan
Texans. You're
stuff
wearing
right now.
Texans. You CJ Stroud over there.
I'm a CJ Stroud guy through
Yeah,
in and throughout. So
yeah. But like, I'm over here wearing Patriot stuff here. Yeah, listen, I know I'm gonna get all the smoke in the world for wearing something Patriots gear, but it's like, come on, man. Like, yes, I'm spoiled. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Um, but yeah, I don't disagree with Pete Carroll ruining. Uh, they should have had more than one Super Bowl victory there. I absolutely agree with you there. Um, but there, I mean, so Raiders, Genty, I can see it definitely being a good possibility. Once again, that's another team that I don't see much of trading down
yeah,
or trading away that pick to go after someone different. Like I said, they do have there is other needs. They are in need of a defensive tackle as well as a cornerback, someone in the secondary as well,
yep.
especially on the other guy there. Oh my goodness, I can't even think of his name today. Um, the corner there for the man, can't think of his name. Moving on.
Okay. All right.
But anyways, yeah. So I could see them going after Genty and foiling other people's plans too if other people are looking at Genty to try and trade up and go get him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I definitely agree with you on that. I think if Genty does not go to the Patriots, I see him either going to the Cowboys or the Las Vegas Raiders, which I don't think any three of those spots will be a bad spot for him. I think he's going to succeed either way. But with that being said, we have given you our top 5 picks in this year's NFL draft. We even gave you a little extra one with the number 6 pick there. We'll be getting into this more as the NFL draft comes closer and closer. I can promise you that. We might even do a live where we're reacting to the draft.
yeah,
I know I thought about doing that anyways, on TikTok or on whatever it is, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you find us. It will be something there, so don't worry about that. But with that being said, that has been all for the Doth Brothers, the first Doth Brothers episode here with Denzel and Live Zone. Denzel, you want to do me a favor and you want to tell them where they can find you.
you could find me on X at Deportes Diesel, sending out daily plays, Major League Baseball, NBA, small cards for both sports today, but that's where you can find me, Deportes Diesel on X.
All right, all right. And you can find me on all the East Coast Sports Investors profiles as well as Real Live Zone on X. So make sure to, hit us up there if you have any questions, anything you want to debate on, and we will get back to you on it. I promise you. I know Denzel is hungry to debate with some people on these social media platforms.
Oh yes,
So,
smoke, bring it.
but yeah, so that's been all. Thank you for watching, and as always, you already know you gotta stay tuned.